Hello, everybody. It's really nice to see so many faces. We are really excited to be speaking to you today about our FSA user training, our first online course for FSA users. This training has been in the making for quite a while now. It's taken 9 months, but it's part of a much larger project to create capacity and resources for our FSA usership. Today we're going to take you through the user training and give you a nice taste of what it's all about. I've invited Storm Edwards as well to join us and to explain a little bit about the process that we've gone through to create this online training. But before we get into that, I'm just going to go through our antitrust statement. And I must also tell you that we are recording the session. So if you are uncomfortable with that, you're welcome to remove yourself from the session. So just quickly on our antitrust statement, SciPlatform meetings and events shall not result in any discussion, activity, or conduct that may infringe on its part or on the part of its members any applicable competition law. By way of example, members, whether in organized SciPlatform sessions or in private, while in attendance at such sessions, shall not discuss, communicate, or exchange any commercially sensitive information, including information relating to prices, marketing and advertising strategy, costs and revenues, trading terms and conditions with third parties, including purchasing strategy, terms of supply, trade programs, or distribution strategy. If any member has any question regarding the legality of proposed discussion or concerns on alignment with SciPlatform's Code of Conduct, the subject discussion should stop immediately and not resume until the facilitator has raised the issue with Antitrust Counsel and obtained permission to proceed. Okay, thanks so much. We're going to get into it now. As I said before, I've invited Storm to speak to us about the learning journey. Storm has been a fantastic partner for us in this process of creating this online training. So maybe Storm, do you want to introduce yourself, and then I'll give the floor to Joe.
Of course, thanks, Jess. That was quite an introduction. Hi, everyone. As Jess mentioned, my name is Storm, and I've been working with SciPlatform for a while now. This is the second course we built together, which is really exciting. And basically, we have collaborated to create this online learning and digital training, which is what EdStrat Learning Solutions does. So we've worked as the digital learning training partner and just helped develop the online learning strategy, which we're very excited to show you today.
Thanks, Storm. Before I hand over to Joe Rushton, I'm Jess Joubert. I'm part of the FSA team at SciPlatform, and I worked very closely with Storm and our FSA team, as well as quite a few of our SciPlatform members and FSA super users, if you will, as well as consultants to develop this training. So I'm going to ask Joe Rushton just to introduce himself and explain a little bit about why this is so important to SciPlatform.
Hi everyone, Joe Rushton here. As Jess mentioned, I'm the FSA director at SciPlatform. Maybe I'll just spend a minute or so kind of putting this in context of where we are in the journey of the FSA. So pre-COVID, we used to run a lot of training classes in person, which were really valuable, and we are going to continue doing that. But we've reached a scale now where we need to provide ways for people to engage in the FSA, understand why it's important, understand how to use it with real finesse all over the world. And so over the last 12 months, we've been working to develop an online training course with our users, and it really is a premium product. So very much looking forward to the webinar being shown around by Jess, and I really hope you like it. The other kind of really special thing about this course is, and why it's important, is that the FSA is really designed to be a kind of collaborative approach. We're very much a community-centered program, not just in terms of the way it's implemented with farmers, but also in the way it's designed and built. And so a really nice feature of this course is that you can share your experiences with your peers. So with that said, huge thank you to Storm and Jess for putting such a fantastic training course together, and thank you so much for joining us at the launch webinar.
Oh, thanks, Joe. Yeah, so I think maybe if we just get into a little bit about the FSA's online training, we're going to take you through the actual learning content, so what that looks like and what it covers. We'll explain to you a bit about who it's for, and yeah, what you can expect from the training. And then I've asked Storm to also talk about the learning journey and what kind of features we've built into the training to make it come alive. And then we'll talk a little bit about the registration process and the fee structure. If you have any questions, please feel free to pipe up. You're welcome to interrupt us while we're going, or to put it in the chat, but we'll also make time at the end for a Q&A. I don't expect that we'll need the full hour. We'll probably be able to show this to you in half an hour to 45 minutes. So you get a little half an hour back in your day. So maybe if we just get into the actual course for now. 1 second. So our training is designed for those who are working either directly with farmers on implementing the FSA, or sustainability sourcing professionals who want to guide their suppliers through the process of using the FSA. But we also had in mind other users, like consultants perhaps, who work a lot with different clients that are working on sustainable agriculture, and who want to use this as a way of understanding what some of the options are in terms of sustainability schemes. The training was really developed as a process of kind of preparing additional resources that our users can use in their pursuit of sustainable agriculture. And the FSA currently is used by over 400,000 different farmers all over the world. So its usership is really growing, and we are in over 70 different countries with over 170 different crops. So our intention here is to create a resource that makes it easier to use the FSA in your different environments. You will see, so I'll share the actual training platform with you, and then you can have a good look at what we are talking about. So currently we are viewing the home screen, and if I go into the actual course, I can show you our learning journey. So as I'm navigating through, I'll explain the platform a little bit more in more detail. But if we just scroll down to our learning journey, you'll see that the way that we've set up the course has aimed to mirror the actual FSA implementation cycle. So at the end of the entire process, users should have a really good grasp of how to use the FSA for verification, how to use the FSA as perhaps an initial due diligence tool, or how to even use it just as a continuous improvement plan. It's really meant to help you understand the entire implementation cycle from start to finish. But we also recognize that a lot of users are able to just go through the FSA guidance and get a good idea of how to use the FSA on its own, or on their own. But the intention here was to really embed wisdom and knowledge that we've gathered from our FSA community. So We went through a process of speaking to a lot of our FSA users that have used it for many years and in different contexts, and we gathered their feedback, big lessons that they've learned in applying the FSA. A lot of those have been written into different sections and different almost case studies. We also asked a lot of our auditors that have experience in auditing the FSA, what are some of the key learnings that they have. And then we also spoke to a lot of consultants that have used the FSA, either have worked with us to develop the FSA or have even used it in their work environments with different clients. So it should be a really rich overview of the FSA with a lot of wisdom that's written into it. And we've also made sure that the way that it's delivered can add a lot of value, not just for the way that you're applying the FSA, but the way that you actually work with farmers. So we've tried to encourage learners through this process to think strategically about the way that they work with farmers and to embed the FSA as part of that, not just as an add-on. The kind of benefits of the course are to gain a really strong foundation in the FSA's implementation requirements and their application, to get those really practical skills to drive behavior change and enhance farmer participation, and learn how to effectively use the self-assessment questionnaire to gather information and to create continuous improvement plans that have a sustainable longevity to them. And then finally, we also really want people to gain confidence in making accurate kind of performance level claims and confidence for the verification process. So yeah, those are some of the benefits that we've gone through, that we've embedded in this. And I'm going to do a little bit of a tour on our learning management system. So this is SciPlatform Academy. You can see that we also have the auditor training. This is reserved specifically for FSA approved auditors. But on the SciPlatform Academy, it's hosted in Adobe Learning Manager, which is a really fantastic online learning platform. It enables you to also have social learning, to earn badges, and there's a lot of kind of gamification that's happening here, as well as a leaderboard. So what we would like to see is a lot of participation between learners where they can share their experiences, etc. And if I go into My Learning and we click on the user training course, you will see that it is set up with 7 specific sections, and these 7 sections follow the FSA's user journey. Each one covers something very specific, which is also audited. So at the end of the day, we hope that you have a very good understanding of what is audited during an FSA verification. And then for each of these various sections, you'll also see that we have included a discussion board. So the discussion board is what I mentioned previously around the social learning. This is where our learners will interact, where the FSA team will also communicate and get engaged in those questions or experiences that you might have. And then finally, if I go to my badges, you can see that you can earn badges. So at the end of the entire training, once the learner has completed their entire journey, they will receive a certificate with the learner's a learning badge. And each of these sections are mandatory in order to go on to the next section. And in order to progress to the next section, you need to pass a little quiz. But with that, I'm going to ask Storm to just guide us through what she has built into our various sections. And yeah, you're welcome to ask any questions. Yeah, thanks, Storm.
Thanks, Jess. That was a great overview. Okay, so I think I'm just going to start off with a little preamble before I show you some of the exciting content. A lot of the work that I do with the different clients I work with is translating training into an online environment. And often people think online training is just putting like a slideshow or a video online and that's it. And the truth is that there's so much more that goes into it. To Jess's point earlier, you know, we really think about who are the learners, what do they need to learn when we think about the application of the content. So in this case, you know, how do you go through your FSA implementation cycle? What is it that you need to know as the learner at each stage? And practically, not just theoretically, what does this look like for you? And so we've taken that sort of insight and we really built it into how we've shaped and developed the course. Now, I know not everyone has experience with online learning. I know that for some people it's new, whereas for other people they might be they might be pros at it, which is wonderful. What we've tried to do is make this online learning as fun and as accessible as possible. Some of it is quite technical, but we've really approached it from a how do we break this down to its most basic point and build it up so that you go along that learning journey with us. And we've done that through delivering content in lots of fun and interactive ways, in ways that help you understand not just what is the theory and how does it work, but what is the real life application and what could this look like, or how would this work, or what does this mean for me and my unique setup, whether I'm working with a standalone farm or a farm management group. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to talk you through one of the packages now. What I'm going to show you is just the first interactive learning package. This is the final product that we have built together with Site Platform. And it's really exciting because I think that it combines lots of different learning elements and it's also just really easy to use. It's fun to work through and it gives the learner a lot to think about as you move through the packages. So this is sort of the start of the package. You get a sense of how long the package should take you to complete. So each package is called a section. There are 7 sections in this training, as Jess mentioned. And then those sections are divided into themes. I'm going to take you to the first overview theme here and just give you a sense of, so some of this is just static content. Here's the implementation cycle. You get a sense of what the different steps are, how it works, and you get a fun and really interactive way of working through the content. So this overview here just gives you a sense of what you'll encounter in the first section, what happens in the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth and the seventh. So it really looks at all the different steps, which you can see here in the implementation cycle. And it says, what do you need to know in order to be able to do this successfully, whether it's in your own context or whether you're doing it for a farm management group, or maybe you just want to understand the FSA implementation a bit better. What I'd like to show you next is just sort of like some of the interactive nature of the packages. So Jess showed you this earlier. This is the learning journey. We have things like labeled graphics, so you can see smaller parts of bigger wholes. We have things like accordions, so you can get a sense of how all the different information pieces fit together. I think something that's quite important within this training is that obviously you want to know that all your learning goes somewhere and that you can be assessed on what you've learned, and you can say that you are a FSA hero. Is that correct, Jess? And you've successfully completed the implementation training. So what will happen is that in every section, you'll have what we call a quick little quiz. And this will be a sort of summative assessment of sorts, where you will be asked a few different questions and you get a score on that. And you will need to pass each quiz with 50% or more to be able to pass the whole course and then receive your FSA Hero badge and certification. So your learning does go somewhere, and this is kind of what you are working towards throughout the course. But what we've also done, and I'm going to show you this in a bit more detail now because it's really exciting. At the end of every theme, so sort of group of content, we've said, okay, what is it that you've just learned and how can we test that practically? And so we've made these little, what we've called like real life scenarios where you get to put your knowledge to the test. So it's not just, please recall what you've learned. It's actually, okay, how does this work? What does this mean? How do I put this into practice? And yeah, we think that's really exciting. Okay, I'm going to show you just a few little examples of some of the content. You can see that there are things like videos. This is just a video about the FSA. And we've got lots of graphics. We've got things like flip cards. Yeah, we have little Q&A blocks when we want to present you with a commonly asked user question, because to Jess's point earlier, you know, we've really spoken to a lot of the people who we think would benefit most from this and people who are already using the FSA. And we've asked them, you know, what are the things that you would like to know? What are the things that you maybe get tripped up on, or where do you need the most help or support? And we've really built that into the training. This is just a little labeled graphic on some of the performance levels, that type of thing. We've included a whole lot of definitions and practical examples of the type of things that you would need to see or would be important for your learning. So it's not just reading something in a guide or a manual, it's actually taking it 3 or 4 steps further. Let's move on now to a scenario, because I think that's a really good, let's do the theme 2 one. That's a really good application-based thing, and I think it's exciting. Okay, so this is just an example of a scenario. This is Lesedi. She's an avocado grower in South Africa. I'm also from South Africa, and so is Jess. And Lesedi is trying to figure out how she can use the FSA implementation with her avos. So you get to work through the scenario with her, and she's trying to figure out how to get her silver level FSA or FSA silver level based on the retailer request that she received. And so she asks you some questions. Where can I learn more about it, what it means? And then you have a series of answers that you can choose. And based on what you choose, this is not for marks, this actually gives you feedback. So maybe you say, okay, she should download the self-assessment questionnaire. And actually, that's not really helpful because she needs to know what to do with it. And there needs to be a broader context to how she approaches the FSA implementation, and it needs to meet her unique circumstances. So then you'll get an opportunity to try again, and you can try another option, and she gives you feedback in her responses and in her gestures. So you can work through these fun little scenarios and just kind of get a sense of what that means. So that's one way in which your knowledge is applied. The quizzes are quite fun. You'll see that if you look here on the left-hand side, this is the navigation of the section. So this is obviously the first section. You can see here that it's made up of lots of different themes. So you've got an introductory theme, which has 3 little lessons, a theme on site platform and the FSA, and then a theme on the SAQ implementation overview. The last theme is always your summary theme. And what you'll get a chance to do is you'll be able to recap what the learning outcomes are. So i.e. what you had to achieve or what you should know by the end of this learning package or this learning section. And these are the learning outcomes that are then used to develop the quick little quiz, which is the summative assessment I spoke about earlier. So if before you go into the summative assessment, you're not sure, or you're a bit hazy on a section, or you want to recap it or revisit it for any purpose, you can do that. These are the little buttons that will take you back to the lessons, and you can just recap it in your own time. So you can do that with all the different themes. And then when you're ready, you can start the quick little quiz. Now, with the quick little quizzes, like I said, it's a summative assessment. There are 10 questions. You will have 3 tries to complete the summative assessment, and you need to score over 50%. If you don't by the third try, you have to repeat the section. So that would be, in this case, section 1, you would need to redo again. And you cannot progress to the next section unless you are able to score 50%. So this is what the little quiz questions look like. This is a fill in the blank. So we give you a statement, you have some instructional text, and then you type your answer. Because these quizzes are for marks, you don't get feedback at an answer level, but what's happened, or what will happen, is by the end of the question, you will, or by the end of the summative assessment, you will get a score, and you'll be able to see whether you can progress or not. Have I missed anything, Jess? Is there anything else you'd like me to cover?
No, thank you, Storm. That's great. I think yeah, we've really valued working with Storm. She is an incredible consultant, and it's been fantastic to work through this process with her. She's really challenged us to think about things in a clever or new way. So yeah, thanks very much, Storm. Really appreciate that. If there are any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. I've already responded to a few, but what I am going to do now is just show you the different fee packages and how you would register. But I would also just like to extend a really big thank you to a lot of our partners that have worked with us through this process. We've had amazing support from our various consultants, and especially to some of our auditors who have given us, material. EcoCert provided videos for us as well, so you'll hear from an audit body. So yeah, it's just made a very rich experience for those people that are going through the training. So I'm going to share my screen one last time, and I'll talk you through the different packages that we offer. If you just give me 1 second. Yeah, so for SciPlatform members, we offer a preferred rate. So if you're a single learner, it's €450 per person, and then if you take a group of 10 learners altogether, we will give you a rate of $350 per learner, and we'll also offer a live session with an FSA teammate. For SciPlatform members, it's this non-members, sorry, that's the same principle applies, but it is €100 more. And then also this year, towards the end of the year, we'll also be launching an FSA advisor network for consultants that are able to consult on the FSA. And a prerequisite for that will be that they go through the training. So if you are a consultant with the right type of experience, you are able to go through this training and be listed in our FSA advisor network, which is essentially a register of FSA consultants. Yeah, so I see that there is one more question. If you do have any, is there an advantage from this training when aiming to become an FSA auditor? So our FSA auditors go through a different type of training. This training is not compliance-based training, which is really what our auditor training is aiming at. And so if you are an FSA auditor, you have access to that training. So you're welcome to send me an email about that if you're interested in that. But this training that we are talking about today is specifically for users of the FSA. So if you are wanting to use the FSA with a group of farmers, or if you're wanting to guide a client through the process of using the FSA, for example. Everybody that goes through the training gets a certificate. Thanks, Brighton, for that question. And yeah, you will also have access to the training afterwards as well if you want to refresh your memory and go through it again. So yeah, I think that's it. And if there is anything else that you'd like to know about, please let me know. You're welcome to email us. I'll put our email address on the screen here, fsa@sciplatform.org. And just really like to say a big thank you to everyone for all of your hard work on this, as well to my colleagues that are on the call. Is there anything else from anyone? Joe, Storm?
I have one point, if that's all right,
Sure.
Jess.
Yeah.
I think it's just important to tell everyone that, you know, the training is also self-paced. We have said that it takes a certain amount of time to complete, but the nice thing about it being delivered through these packages and through the Adobe Learning Manager is that you can also do it in your own time. So obviously everyone has different schedules and everyone has different work commitments or things like that. The nice thing about how we've sort of structured and set out the training is it's not like you have to sit in a 3 or 4 day face-to-face workshop and then you miss out on a whole lot of things. You can ideally do this in your own time. You'll see each package will allow you or give you an approximate suggestion for how long the learning will take. But let's say you have an hour in one day to do a little bit, and then you put it down and you have an hour the next day. The system will remember that, and it tracks your progress, and so you don't lose that progress regardless of how far you get. So the nice thing about how we've structured this online learning experience is that you can also do it in a way that works for you, and you can learn when and where it works best for you, which is really important.
Yeah, exactly. And if you need any, you know, if something isn't clear, you're always also welcome to contact us at the FSA team. But thanks so much, Storm, for joining us and going through all of that. And thank you, Joe, as well. It's been lovely to share our hard work with you, and we hope that it's a meaningful and useful tool in the future. Joe, is there anything?
No, thank you everybody for joining, and do remember to reach out and sign up. Share it with your friends, family, colleagues.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.